Good evening, DGent Nation. Money Management of the Distinguished DGents podcast. Big Bucks Betas getting in that holiday spirit, chugging that ale. There we go. How you doing,
I'm
Big
trying to
Bucks?
forget my problems.
Hey, man, that's what we do on this show. We forget our problems by drinking and being DGents. So,
Exactly.
how's it
Talking
going, man?
about talking about football, betting, and gambling. Just it's a nice little getaway from all the holiday craziness. And let's ignore last week. Holy fuck! What the fuck happened? FanDuel, DraftKings, Barstool, all the sports books gave away so much money, and I just feel like this week
Gave it all back.
gave the God,
It
what
was
a
not a good
crazy
week.
week. No. Money man, this is Big Bucks Bader. How you doing tonight, bud?
Hey man, hanging in there. Like you said, holidays crazy, but we're pushing on, and I mean now we're hitting the home stretch of the NFL season, and last week was crazy.
Last week was crazy. This whole year's been insane. Uh, God, we're at the home stretch, and this is where the real dogs come out to play, and the wimpy, whiny little yip yip dogs run home after all their free bets run out. Even after a bad week, we're still here.
Well, we're
And
always gonna be here. We're DJs. We're always gonna
yeah,
be here.
but God, I don't even know where to start as far as week 14. Um,
How about Baker Mayfield, 98 yards to be this Raiders team? I'm done with the Raiders. They're the
yeah,
Green Bay of the AFC. I'm done with the Packers. I'm done with the Raiders. I may never bet that team again.
the line went from 6.5. It was 4.5. It went to 6.5. It didn't seem to matter. That whole damn game, I lost count of the number of opportunities after the Raiders got 16. You couldn't get in field goal range. You couldn't get a first down against the fucking Rams.
And
You
Baker
couldn't stop
Mayfield that
Baker
knew like
Mayfield.
5 plays on the playbook. I mean that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. That was
Baker
ridiculous.
Mayfield's calling Ben Skoranek Cooper Cup because he doesn't know his own team. Like, I mean, what are we doing?
Bro, I'm sitting there. It's 13-3, and I had like an over bet with the Raiders minus 3.5 or something like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh, this is easy money. 13-3, 10 minutes in the second quarter. I got this in the bag.
Oh yeah, like if you think about it by half, like if you need over 44 and you're already at 20, not even second quarter ends. Oh yeah, like this is on pace.
McDaniels has one of the worst coaching jobs of the year in that game. I mean, talk about just pussy, bitch level, pansy ass shit.
Oh god. It's so weird because you see the Seattle game and you would think the opposite. You would think he had some balls. You would think he kept it close. And then you get this bullshit against the
I
Rams.
mean, it's like that team just got the yips where Carr threw that bad interception to end the first half, and then they just like, I don't know, they got really conservative. Just a really disappointing effort from the Raiders, who once again, every time you believe, the Raiders are like the Mets. Every time you believe in them, they just rip your guts out. And it was like that. You start to believe in this Raiders team, maybe there's something, they
They
rip your
won
guts
three in a
out.
row. It was there.
Playing
And what
against,
concerned me, sorry to interrupt. What
no, go ahead.
concerned me too, I even said Baker Mayfield, if he gets the start and it's Thursday night, he is undefeated. But it was with
Oh, come
Cleveland, and I was
on.
like, well, why
Come
the fuck
on.
would I know?
They had
But the
two
problem
drives all game and won. It's
is,
unbelievable.
it was the same mindset as the Carson Wentz argument when they played the Bears. Should they have lost? Absolutely. Carson Wentz, it's just one of those things. He's undefeated Thursday night. It's ugly. It was terrible. He got it done. Baker Mayfield, kind of oddly enough, the same thing. It was ugly. He wasn't great. He still somehow fucking won.
Okay.
This is the fourth game where the Raiders had double digit leads and blew it. Three of which in the fourth quarter, or maybe two, but
Yeah, The Raiders are what you would call dead to me. Done with them.
Done with Derek. Can we let's get real for a minute? How did the Raiders even make the playoffs last year? With the fucking interim head coach, as injured as they were, no Devontae Adams. They get their stud receiver now, and they somehow have regressed after they paid Derek Carr. At some point, can Raiders fans reach out and can they just can we just get to the point where we say maybe you should have just got rid of Derek Carr too? Maybe you just need a whole organization shake up again.
Yeah, Carr's he's just I don't know, man. He's just I want to say he's like Kirk Cousins, but he's not. He just is bad at all of the inopportune times. Cousins is just consistently mediocre for the most part. Carr is he'll have some good moments, and then when you need him to come up big, he just doesn't.
No, it's time and time. And that's the difference between having a playoff caliber winning quarterback. Look at the difference between Patrick Mahomes. You want to go back, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, even to an extent. Maybe not so much this year. Fuck it. I would even say Joe Burrow, too. In the clutch moments when it matters most, they get the win. They get it done. Derek Carr, time and time again, this clown finds new ways to fuck up games.
Yeah, that interception before halftime was that was Zach Wilson level bullshit.
It was unbelievable. I'm glad I didn't. I had to have to go back to see if I even really bet this game. I just did not have a good feeling. I even, and what I kicked myself really in the nads for, I even said during the last episode, Derek Carr upset special is overdue. It's this would be it.
Bro, I mean, they lost to a guy who was in the building for a day. I mean, the level of that loss, I don't think people realize how bad of a loss it was because it's the Rams, it's a defending Super Bowl champion. They have a decent coach.
No, it's not.
It's Baker Mayfield. Okay, he's bad, but he's not some guy off the street. But it's no, when you look at it, Baker Mayfield was a guy off the street. The Rams literally have Jason Mansman playing wide receiver. And somehow they beat the Raiders, who were allegedly in a playoff hunt. I mean, their season's over. That's
so
the dream crusher.
I had a same game parlay. I had a 3-legger. Lost because of fucking Devon. How do you not find Devontae Adams in the end zone in this game? How many times did he burn Jalen Ramsey that entire game and not find the end zone? That's what ended up killing. And I had a bad feeling about the end of that game, too. That's why I played the Raiders -3.5 first half. That hit. Rams to get 9.5 points in the second half. Ugly as that was, hit. How do the Raiders get such a prize in Devontae Adams?
It's good. You have to be aggressive enough to, like I said, the game plan. It's they went up 13-3, and then it was we're just going to run the ball and punt. And literally, they played the game not to lose. They're not going to score. And, we know the Raiders win by relying on that vaunted defense of theirs. Oh, that's right. Their defense sucks.
Terrible. Gave up. Literally pulled the fucking New Orleans Saints. God. It was weird. Monday night, you see that. Thursday night, it was a literal Wish version of that fucking game.
Oh, yeah, that was the joke. They messed up. They did the NFL had their script two games in a row.
Yeah.
That was the joke last week.
Yeah. Well, speaking of jokes, and maybe not my joke, but maybe a sharp analytics joke, the Minnesota Vikings. I have never, recently I did some deep diving. The fucking analytic nerds in sports betting, I have never seen them hate on a team so much like the Minnesota Vikings.
They finally got one. They finally
finally get one at Detroit. Another one I get wrong.
Told you. It's hard because the number was wrong, but I told you Detroit at home. And it's funny because we talked about the Raiders. 3 wins in a row, fraud, failure, bullshit coached game. Detroit is, I'll tell you what, they're the real deal. They're a real legitimate contender. Not contender for the Super Bowl, contender to make the playoffs. Like, they're the real deal. They've shown that. Winning that game last week, real deal team.
I don't see it as this game, oddly enough. I just think they took advantage of Kirk Cousins on the road in a game where the Lions were really hyped for. They really woke up for this game. Minnesota, I mean, what are they, 10-3 now? Like, this was a game, admittedly, they probably could have afforded to lose. You watched that game, Minnesota didn't really appear to really care to change the game plan. They just did the same bullshit they've been doing and thought they could get away with it in Detroit. And Detroit just woke up.
Well, I think the Eagles are getting closer to that 1 seed. But okay, ready? You think Detroit's fraud? Here we go.
No, I don't think they're frauds.
Let's see.
Let's stop right there. I don't think they're frauds. It's not that. I don't know how consistent Dan Campbell's going to be from here on out. This is the home stretch. He has to win out if he wants to make.
We're gonna play a game. Ready? Since October 30th. Listen to this body of work. They lost at home to Miami by 4 points.
Right.
They
covered that, right? They covered
that was a cover. Yeah. I think it was a cover. Beat Green Bay at home by 6 points, so not great.
Well, Aaron Rodgers sucks. Beat Chicago on the road by a point. Okay, we're not getting that impressive yet. No.
Beat the Giants on the road by 2 touchdowns.
It was impressive at the time. If the Giants are really falling to grace and becoming who they really are, it remains to be debated. I mean, but I get it. I'll give it to you.
They lost to the Bills on Thanksgiving by 3.
That was a close game. They had the lead.
Close game, had a lead. Josh Allen, miracle throw to Stephon Diggs. Then they beat the Jaguars by like 100.
The Jaguars on the road. I mean,
and now they've beaten the Vikings at home by 11. So a lot of home wins, but bro, they're winning games.
Not a lot. I have to see their home stretch. I'm not saying Dan Campbell's not. Here's the good news. Dan Campbell is off the hot seat. I think he's earned himself another year.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's shown multitudes of improvement. This team actually has a real deal shot, and it's no discredit to them. I just don't know if they can sustain this hype for the rest of the year. And then if say they do make the playoffs, let's be real, it's a wild card, and they're going to be on the road.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, they're not doing anything. I'm not saying they even make the playoffs. But, bro, you look at the beginning of the year schedule. Eagles, Commanders, who they beat, Vikings, Seahawks, Patriots, Cowboys. Tough schedule. Look at who they have the rest of the year. This is the hardest game coming up. Jets, Panthers, Bears, Packers. They could win out. They could definitely win out. Not saying they will. They could. They could win out.
It depends. I'm going to say this, and this is just kind of a look-ahead situation. If you think Sam Big Dick Darnold is the real deal again, and the Panthers start getting hot, that could be an unfortunate loss.
Well, yeah. I mean, they could lose this week. You know, it's 3 of their next 4 games are on the road, so it's not going to be easy for them. But I mean, bro, it would not surprise me if they won out. Like they've shown that they're pretty decent.
They could. I mean, Green Bay. I mean, we're going to be. I think to give a spoiler, we're going to be reminded of how bad they are come Monday night. But remains to be seen. Maybe they come off the bye ready to go. Maybe they try to heat back up before the end of the year. God, they got Green Bay. They got the Bears. At home, they should win that. The Panthers, I think, are going to be tougher than people expect, especially because it's a road trip. The Jets, yeah, I would say maybe the Jets is going to be their hardest one.
Well, I think the next two games you're going to see because the defenses are going to be tough. So they're a high scoring team. Are they able to win a sort of grind it out type game? We're going to see.
Or do we get Jared Goff special? You're absolutely right. Here's an interesting one. This was actually one of two games I completely called correct. Unfortunately, it was only two. Your Bills at home against the Jets. They got the job done. They gave up a last-minute backdoor cover to the Jets at that 9.5. Again, you kind of called this too. Like the Bills win an ugly, boring, stereotypical, bland game, but got it done without question. They fucked up Mike White.
Mike White got fucking killed. Yeah, that was crazy.
He might be starting again this week. Any comment towards that?
I mean, if he's healthy, he was a warrior in that game. I don't think he's the reason they lost. I mean, it's, there were a couple mistakes. The Michael Carter fumble towards the end of the game was big. That was a big sort of turning point. Yeah. I don't know, man. The Bills are starting. I'd be scared if I'm the AFC because you look at the Bills, they're the number one seed. They're not even. Their offense is not even playing all that great. And it's just their defense is starting to. Their defense the past couple of weeks is starting to show up. And I don't know if it's going to last, but if this defense plays like that and the offense could get it together, I mean, the Bills are a dangerous team because I feel like they haven't even played that well and they've won like 5 straight again. And
yeah, they have not been nearly as good as they were at the beginning of the season. They're not the team everybody expected. I know they're not the team.
But I actually disagree because I will say one thing. You know what's happened the past few games? Josh Allen hasn't been turning the ball over. And if that offense starts to click and he continues not to turn the ball over, they're going to be a tough team to beat especially if you got to go to Buffalo and their defense is playing well and they are learning how to win close games because they've been winning close games. Dangerous team. I'd be scared to play the Bills,
It's reminiscent of, we can just say, the Legion of Boom, the 2000 Ravens. Are the Bills just starting to get to a point where they're realizing maybe defense is what's needed to win championships, and they're just saying, Josh Allen, go to game manager mode. Don't go super sicko. Just do what you got to do.
Well, I think it's like super sicko in certain situations. I mean, that 3rd and 16 play where he hurdles 2 guys.
Oh, my God. The double helicopter.
Gets helicoptered. Yeah. I mean, but it's like, we don't need that Josh in a close game in the weather. Like, if you're in the red zone, just take your field goal. Bass has been great. It's just selective sort of
Don't
gameplay.
throw a pick in the red zone. That's been I will say, the picks in the red zone have been the biggest killer for your team. And Josh has been known to do that, especially in the middle of the season we were watching.
Yeah.
Especially the Vikings game when they had that drive early on, threw the pick first thing, and it was like, oh, this is going to be ugly. But you're right. Like, it's ugly to watch. It's not exciting, but the Bills are winning, and they're maintaining that number 1 spot, which they need if they even want to keep these Super Bowl dreams alive.
I'm telling you, they cannot go to Kansas City in the playoffs. They cannot go to Kansas City in the playoffs. They cannot do it. They cannot do it. They cannot win there. They just cannot beat Patrick Mahomes in that stadium in the playoffs. It just can't happen.
I hate to say this, but I think your biggest hope, fuck dealing with Kansas City, your biggest hope is that Kansas City gets bounced by Cincy. That's your best
Yeah,
hope.
I think we could beat Cincy. I'm not saying they can't beat us. I just think that matchup is better. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback, but he's a little bit more. Joe Burrow's a little bit more stationary. Their offensive line isn't as good. They can't run the ball that well.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter home or away. I think if you guys have to deal with Kansas City in the playoffs, home or away, I'll give you the home field advantage, sure, but
I think we
I'm
could beat
still
them at
just as
home.
scared.
I think we could beat them at home. Because I think that'll nullify some of what Patrick Mahomes does. He might throw a few turnovers. In that stadium with those Chiefs fans doing their goddamn tomahawks, we have not been able to. I mean, we've seen it. 3 years, the Bills' seasons ended in Kansas City. If you go back to Kansas City, it's going to end again. There's just
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's talking about seasons being over. Pittsburgh, they got Baltimore with Tyler Huntley.
And then the other guy, Anthony Brown or whatever his name was.
Our dual best bet. First drive. Kenny Pickett goes down, concussion protocol.
Well, that's true. I mean, those are when the bets die, you know.
Big Dick Mitch shriveled up and ended up being a fucking chode, throwing three goddamn interceptions.
Every time they were driving, it was like, we're going and you're watching, or you're watching the highlights. Like, I was focused on the Bills game. I wasn't feeling that well this past week. Everybody at my house was like either sick or kind of like fighting off sickness. I think I was close to getting sick, but like avoided the like what my sister had because she was pretty bad. But it's like I'm watching the Bills game. It's back and forth, nip and tuck, and I'm looking and you see Pittsburgh driving, and then it's like another interception. Like every time they would drop another interception.
Another one. God, Mitch Trubisky. He wonders why he lost the starting job. Big Ben was like, Mitch should have got a better chance. I watched that game and I was like, wow, that just completely nullified any argument for Mitch.
But we know what Mitch Trubisky was. We know what he is.
Yeah. But again, like the debate for me was like, was Kenny Pickett really that much better? Come to find out, the answer was fucking yes. Holy shit. Like, say what you will, Kenny's a rookie, but he's a rookie. Next year, 2 years, 3 years, he could steadily improve. This is the best you're going to get in Mitch Trubisky. And there's just no reason for him to be a starter at this point. I think that game, unfortunately, has ended his career. And God, I forget. I don't even know what the Steelers' record is. Did that kill my fucking bet?
I think they have 8 losses now.
I could live. I have over 7.5, so I need them to go 8-9, and that bet will hit for my Steelers futures bet. So,
yeah, if Pickett comes back, it could. Mitch,
don't worry. They get the Panthers, the Raiders, the Browns, and the Ravens again.
Oh, they might lose all of those games.
Oh yeah, it could be bad. But I mean, Tyler Huntley now he's injured. Lamar may or may not be coming back. The Ravens are probably going to be. This is the same situation we were in last year, and we were like, are the Ravens even bettable?
It's. I don't know how they won that game, and
pure luck.
God, the Ravens are like the worst division leader. They're like, well, no, that's the Titans. No, that's the Bucs actually. They're the third worst division leader in football. I mean, they're just like every game. It seems like they should have lost and they won.
The Broncos come to mind.
Broncos, Steelers, the Browns earlier in the year.
Yeah. No, Baltimore. I think at this point, like they should be happy. They made it this far. I think your season's coming to die. And I hate to say it, but once again, since he's going to take advantage of the situation, because we all know Deshaun Watson at this point, we've seen him in 2 games. Mm-hmm. Guy can't fucking throw past, or he can't throw above somebody's ankles. It's
God, is Baltimore going to win in Tennessee again in the wild card game? Are they going to be like the first wild card and win in Tennessee for like 2 years in a row?
Part of me wants to see that game just for the shit show it'll be. The other part of me doesn't want to see that because I'm just tired. I'm tired of Baltimore, especially just. Oh my God, Tennessee! They're a rivalry. Like, they disrespected us, stomped on our logo. It's like, well, maybe playoff Lamar should appear. I don't know where the fuck he's been. I don't know if
They
you remember watching that game. He didn't really light it up either.
Yeah, I had a bet on Tennessee that game. Don't remind me.
God, another bet. That was a game. Best bet did not fucking even come close to coming through. I had over 36.5. It was not even fucking close. Although, if Mitch just gets a couple touchdowns, it could have been my best bet of the year. It's
Jesus Christ, that was brutal.
unbelievable.
That was brutal.
All right, here's a brutal one. Philly and the Giants. I did the New York teaser. I teased New York Jets and New York Giants. Had the Giants at 13.5. It was, I thought it was a good bet, and the Eagles just reminded the world that they're the real fucking
Yeah,
deal.
I
They're
was
the number one
concerned
team.
about that. The Giants, I think it's more an indictment on the Giants because I think I told you after the Tennessee game, okay, the Eagles showed they're legitimate. This was about the Giants. Just, I think their season's over. I mean, they're just in free fall. Their injuries are catching up with them. Their talent's catching up with them. They overachieved in the beginning of the year against shit competition. They're starting to play legitimate teams, and I mean, you see, you get blown out at home by Detroit. You get blown out at home by the Eagles.
They just get
This,
blown out. They get bent over and blown out. Like, I mean,
it's
that's the
just,
Giants now.
yeah. And they're playing Washington in what's essentially a must-win game. So interesting.
I love that they flexed that game to Sunday night because I have not been able to really watch the Commanders all too much, considering we're both from Maryland. Like, you would think that's a game I catch, but generally I don't. But no, literally ever since the bye week, the Giants have just been in free fucking fall.
Yeah.
1-3-1 straight up after the bye. They beat Houston.
And in a game that wasn't that pretty, I was concerned about that game not covering. If you
Oh
remember.
God, no, that was a horrible, horrible game. That it was amazing. It's amazing watching the Texans week in and week out find new ways to lose to teams. Just blow it, say fuck it. That's right. We're trying to get the number one overall pick again. We need a new Deshaun Watson. I don't really know what to make of the Texans. I don't even know what to make of the Giants at this point because they were doing so well. My concern, I guess, is that is the indictment going to come down on Dayball? Does it come down on Daniel Jones? I mean, who do you blame for this Giants free fall? Because if you ask me, I'm blaming management. I'm blaming coaching. Daniel Jones, I don't even know who his wide receivers are. So as much as I want to blame him, I know this is his last contract year. But I think if you're the G-men and you had this success and now all of a sudden you don't, and you think this guy's a dud, you're kind of fucked at this point. You don't really have a lot of options.
I think it's, you know, I don't want to say blame. You can only, there's always an accounting for, there's always a regression to the mean. There's always an accounting. There's always, you can only, you look at if you're a soccer fan, you look at the World Cup games and you had Croatia and Morocco that were kind of these dark horse sort of teams. And what happened? They got stumped by better teams in the semifinals. It's like the Giants were a cool little story, but there's always sort of an accounting, and you find out, and we talked about it, towards the end of the year, you start to see which teams are legitimate, which teams could go and win big games and play tough against big opponents. And you look at it, the Giants got blown out against Dallas, they got blown out against Philly, they got blown out against Detroit. I mean, you're starting to see that this is just a team that they can't compete. I mean, the talent is starting to catch up with them.
Yeah, and I mean, let's look at their wins too. I mean, let's be real. I think they had the easiest start. Looking back, probably the easiest 5 games in consideration. at Tennessee, who we now think is the third worst division leader.
No, they're the second worst.
Second worst. Against Carolina.
That
when
was
Baker Mayfield was starting.
Remember, that was Matt Rule.
They went to Dallas. That was a primetime game. They lost.
Cooper Rush.
They beat Chicago, but it was 20-12. At Green Bay, but they weren't at Green Bay. They went to London.
Yeah.
And got that win.
Remember, that was the game where the Green Bay players complained about, like, the time difference.
Yeah. Versus Baltimore. They beat Baltimore. They beat Jacksonville. And it's one of those weird things. You remember the Ravens game? You remember the Jacksonville? The one thing they all have in common was the Giants won close.
Yeah.
They won a lot of very close games. And then I think at one point you're right. It's just a regression to the mean.
And it wasn't close games like backdoor cover type games or, where the game was fairly comfortable. Like we talked about the Bills game. It was an 8-point game. Yeah, there were things that could have swung the game. But
it wasn't an 8-point game, though, the whole time. The Jets just got a backdoor cover.
And let's be honest, too. Like, if you remember the Jacksonville game, Trevor Lawrence was a yard away from getting the game tied up. The Ravens game, the Ravens had a ghastly fumble inside their own 20 to lose that game. Like, those were two games where their win percentage was probably at about, 15%, and they ended up winning the game.
Yeah, I guess my thing is coaching at this point, because coaching up till that point, up till before the bye, coaching won you these close type games, not the injuries. And maybe you got lucky on 2 or 3, but now all of a sudden it's like, is the coaching catching up? Are the Giants really the frauds of the NFC, not the Vikings? Like, as much shit as the Vikings get, the Vikings at least continuously win and find ways to do so. But now all of a sudden the Giants are just like literally crashing back to earth. And I just remember watching the games earlier and I was like, this is a very fucking lucky team. And they were just getting all the hype. Like, Dayball's the best head coach. He was fucking great. And even, I don't want to say it was you, but it was just like, I kept referring back to it. I was like, wait a minute. Mansman hated this guy when he was on the Bills.
Yeah.
Like, are we just forgetting that, like...
Well, I think he did a great job early in the year, but, you're starting to see some teams that had good starts and haven't been... I mean, to give you an idea, like we were talking about, the Ravens at one point in that game, 90% chance to win. And then it was the fumble, or the interception. No, it was that ghastly interception that, Lamar threw.
Yeah, and the guy's going to want $53 million. After what he saw with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he got hurt again. Oh, we'll get to midget boy.
Not very PC of you, Mansman. That's okay.
Well, I'm done with him too. But
we'll
go ahead.
Go ahead. I completely called. As ugly as this is one I want to get your opinion. Cleveland and Cincy. I don't know why I didn't make this my best bet. I literally was like, Deshaun Watson sucks.
Well, since he had never beaten Cleveland before with Joe Burrow.
That's not true. Since he's beaten Cleveland, Joe Burrow hasn't.
Well, I said with Joe Burrow. Yeah, since he and Cleveland have played like forever. So, yeah. But yeah, that was a
real ugly win for the Bengals. That did not go the way I thought it would, but they at least got the cover. And I think the Bengals won in spite of Joe Burrow and in spite of Deshaun Watson. What I mean by that, I think I swear to God, it sounds crazy, but I think if what's his name?
Jacoby Brissett.
Thank you. I was going to say Jamarcus Russell, but I was like, that's not correct. Not even.
Don't do Jacoby Brissett.
No, Jacoby Brissett deserves much more respect than that. No, but Jacoby Brissett, I feel like if he was in this game, he would have won it. At least he would have covered. But Deshaun Watson, this guy cannot throw the ball above somebody's ankles. I just don't know if, maybe he needs to talk to Jameis Winston and get some, LASIK eye surgery, because maybe his depth perception's off. Maybe all those massages just like
Yeah,
fucked up
crimped
his
his
eyesight. I
muscles
don't
or
know.
something. I
Like
don't know, man.
they paid this guy. I don't even remember how much money, but
They're paying him for the future. The question's going to be now that this year's almost like a wash for him, and the question's going to be next year: is he able to do anything?
we saw his best at Houston at this point. I mean, he's not younger. He doesn't really have younger talent around him. It's God. Cleveland could be my biggest fade of the year next year. Just I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to keep throwing balls into the dirt all season. I don't think he's going to throw balls into the dirt next season. I just don't. I think his best days are behind him. It's hard for me to believe that this guy has his mindset straight. It's hard for me to think that he's ever going to get past this. I know they said the same things about Michael Vick, but Michael Vick at least went into a good situation. At least Michael Vick still had talent despite all that. And even when Michael Vick came back, Vick wasn't the same quarterback. He wasn't the scrambler. He was more of the pocket passer, but he still could do it. I'm looking at the same kind of scenario. I don't see Watson scrambling as much. I see him trying to throw way too much, and he doesn't have the arm. That's how I see it. I think this Cleveland team just made the biggest fucking bust of the fucking century.
Yeah, he hasn't looked good, and I don't know if he's gonna look good again for a while. Tell you the truth.
It's I think Cleveland just blew their opportunity to have a franchise again. Again, say what you will about Baker Mayfield. I don't really think he was exactly the guy either. But I think the difference was Baker could at least not just throw the ball to a receiver, but you could tell the guy wants to play. You could tell he wants to be the leader. Deshaun Watson lately, he's just been out there.
I wouldn't have touched him with a 50-foot.
I wouldn't have either. And I'm not even an NFL owner. I've had nothing associated with the NFL. But I think guys like us could see this and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, how does it work? Let's be honest, for all the Colin Kaepernick people out there was a time when, regardless of blackball or whatever you think happened with him, there came a point where a lot of rational sort of people were like, well, think about it. He's been out of the league for how long? And it's kind of like Deshaun Watson. I mean, he hasn't played in what, like a year and a half, 2 years? You're seeing
about 2 years.
You're
almost.
seeing what happens. I mean, he doesn't. Like, I remember as a Bills fan, the Texans-Bills playoff game when Watson was running circles around our defense and we couldn't tackle him. And you look at this guy and it's like a shell. I mean, he's like helpless out there.
It's not even close. And I don't know if it's just the coaching scheme. I don't know if they're just trying to warm him back into the league and maybe next year they've already just decided, like, fuck it. Do what you can do this year, and we'll refocus next year and do what we got to do. I think if you're Cleveland, that's what you have to do to get to the point where you want to be successful again. But hard for me to understand, like, why you would throw all your chips and money on a guy who hasn't played in a year and a half with so many sexual scandals.
Not against Cincy, I wouldn't. That's for sure.
Not against Cincy. Baltimore, too. Like, it's a tough division already. And you pick this fucking guy? Like, say again, you want to get rid of Baker Mayfield? Like, over time, I was like, fine. I could understand the logic. But you're Cleveland. You always rebuild in the draft.
Desperate team, desperate owner.
Super desperate. I think that's going to play into the end of the year. I hate to say it. I think Cleveland is officially on the auto fade list for the end of the year. Until Deshaun Watson at least has a good showing. Like, they have to be on auto fade. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts on that are, but
you want to fade him against Baltimore this week? I mean, at home against Baltimore, 3-point favorites. Cleveland 3-point favorite.
I take 3. I'll take 3.
I mean, you don't even know who Baltimore's quarterback's going to be.
I mean, I didn't know who they were going to have a quarterback last season, and still took Baltimore. I mean,
God, Bro, if you do that later in the week when we have our picks, that's gonna be bold.
Yeah, I mean, considering I tried to play it smart this week and totally ate dirt, like,
Yeah,
fuck it. I mean,
we
this
ate
could be
some
the fuck it play. Like, fuck it.
we ate some shit this week. That was brutal.
Speaking of eating shit, one of my other best bets, Tennessee gets a home game against Jacksonville, who went on the road, who normally never wins on the road. They fire their GM. They're supposed to be better because they fired their GM.
What did they fire the GM after the game?
They fired the GM after the Eagles game.
Oh. Gotcha. I got that mixed up. Bro, Jacksonville's only 2 games behind. It could still happen.
God, that would be a bad beat on my future.
Bro, it may happen. It may happen. Tennessee is like in fucking free fall.
Oh God,
Tennessee, God.
I don't want to hedge. I don't want to hedge on Jacksonville. God, that would be disgusting. Jacksonville was going to be a fucking playoff team. Stop. No.
I mean, they're 2 down with 4 left, so it's unlikely, but
God, that would just be the worst futures beat. That would be so bad.
Bro, Tennessee plays in LA, home against the Texans. Okay, so maybe they'll win that game.
That's one.
Who else do they play? Let's see. Well, they might lose to Houston. I mean, they're so bad. Who knows? No, not really. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. This is dangerous. At the Chargers, home against Houston, home against the Cowboys, at Jacksonville, week 18. That could be for the division.
Fucking Christ.
Jacksonville would have to win, too. Let's see the Jaguars schedule real quick here. Jacksonville Jaguars. They play home against the Cowboys. Okay. On the road against the Jets. Ooh. At Houston. They never beat them. And home against Tennessee. So you might get a suck out there.
I think I'll get the suck out. Between the Jets and Cowboys, if I don't suck out, it'll be a miracle for them. My bottom line, though, Tennessee just 3 weeks in a row I bet on this team. 3 weeks in a row they pissed me off. It's like the offense run through Derrick Henry and nothing else. Treylon Burks isn't out there, and all of a sudden Ryan Tannehill forgets how to throw.
Yeah, it's Tennessee was a team that I really was starting to like, and
I love Tennessee. I was literally trying to bet on them. It was just you gave up fucking 13 unanswered in the third.
God, and they have a tough schedule too. Jesus, hard to really find any. I mean, are you gonna maybe you back them against Houston? I mean, it's hard to think of another game you back them in. Can't back them this week. I don't think.
I don't think I can. We're gonna see come Friday when we go through our. It'll be week 15. We'll go through our week 15 handicaps on Friday, but I mean, it's gonna be hard. You know, I said fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me a third time, and I should just go fuck myself.
And now you're literally like, you're going to get fooled the 4th time. I mean,
I don't know if I can.
This is your Green Bay. This is your Green Bay and fucking Raiders.
You know what? You're 100% right. I think the Titans are my Green Bay, and I've just been losing money on the Titans, and I just need somebody to tell me to cut it the fuck out. And like,
oh my God,
you need that donkey wake up call. Like, just.
Yeah. And Jacksonville, they're still not worth mentioning. So.
No, I don't want to mention this game. We're going to go into the other AFC stuff. But I will not be catching fire for this game. We did not make the bet, thank fuck.
Speaking of eating shit.
But yeah, holy shit. Dallas damn near with the biggest loss of the fucking century.
Fucking told you it was coming. I had a feeling.
Bro, you did not expect the Texans to be fucking winning most of that.
No, that was crazy.
You
Dallas really fucking, they sleptwalk even more than I thought. But I had a feeling it could be close. I had a feeling. God, that
okay,
was...
first of all, Davis Mills was supposed to get the start.
He did kind of.
Jeff Driscoll comes out.
They were doing they were literally doing a college where they'd alternate quarterbacks. Like a fucking college team.
I mean, is that what Lovie Smith thinks of the Houston Texans? Is that they're just a college team? Like,
I mean,
he's acting like if he wants to act like a college coach and treat the team like a college team, he should probably just stay in fucking college.
How about Mike McCarthy? I mean,
God, I don't want to speak of that.
Is this going to be the game Dallas loses? I mean, Dallas might be due for a loss because they look like shit last week and they got lucky to survive.
If I remember the Cowboys well, they do this kind of shit with shit teams. When it comes to the real teams, when it comes to the big moments, they find ways.
Did they cover 10 straight games against shit teams? Like they had gotten some ridiculous. We even talked about it. Oh, they always beat up on bad teams. But in this week, but I did tell you this was the 1 week. I told you this was the 1 week. I'd be careful. Battle of Texas.
So since they last played Philly, they're 6-1 straight up, 3-3 ATS. So they fucking lost to Dallas, which was 1. They didn't cover against the G-Men. That was the Thanksgiving backdoor cover.
Oh,
so they were beating them up. They gave up the backdoor cover. They should have not covered against Indy, but then they got 33 unanswered because they got 5 million fucking red zone opportunities in the fourth.
Yeah.
And then this Houston game, you might be onto something, admittedly. I mean, looking at the last 5, Minnesota was the only mollywhopping of all of them. The rest of these games is just like...
Boy, I'd give a look to... I'm going to have to... Like I said, there's more handicapping to be done, obviously, but boy, oh boy, you got to have an eye towards Jacksonville this week. Be very curious to look at that game because, I don't know, Dallas is just sort of sleepwalking and they haven't been caught yet, and I think they might be due to get caught. One of these
games. But my thinking is, and we mentioned this before throughout the year, the look-ahead spot. And
well, I like it too because they haven't played well against either team from the AFC South. They've kind of almost been caught by 2 AFC South teams, and they're going to be playing Jacksonville. So,
God, I know the. Oh yeah, Indy, Houston. Now they get Jacksonville. God, that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, but no, Dallas. They should be fine. I mean, my bigger concern would be Dak Prescott, a couple turnovers. I mean, is he going to start doing that? That's going to be bad for them in the playoffs. That's how he's going to play. So
yeah, I will catch. I think I'm going to have to catch fire for some of these bets. Pittsburgh will be one. That one was just, even though again, there's multiple games I think we handicapped perfectly fine. Just the injury immediately, just fucking you knew the bet was dead. The Giants, I'm going to have to take one for that. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
We're both catching fire. I'm catching fire too.
Yeah.
I had the player props all wrong. I thought Allen would go over passing yards. Even though it was the bad weather, I've seen him perform in weather games and thought, oh, this is too low. This is artificially low. Nope, did nothing.
No, here's what's artificially low. My Denver fucking Broncos. God, even when they get it right and they prove, I had a 4-leg parlay, Jason. 4 legs. And hopefully I can tell you what it was. But I had 4 games over-under because I've been the over-under guy, right, Jason? I was doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota at Detroit, over 51.5. Check. Cleveland at Cincy, under 46.5. Check. Carolina at the Seahawks, over 44.5. Fucking Broncos, under 43.5. I cannot. That was damn near dead.
Yeah, I was dead by like half. Bro, I was the same way. I played, my player prop was Mahomes under like 340, 330 passing yards, something like that. And, bro, he had like 270 at halftime. It was like, what the fuck? Well, doesn't Denver have a defense? But I guess not.
Not in the first half. Their first half defense just was non-existent. The second half, though, God, I'm not going to apologize for everything I said, but what I will say is that team that came out in the second half, I wish I see more of it. That's a team that could beat the Chiefs and beat a lot of these opponents that they have been struggling against. And just for some reason, yet again, that every year there's 2 games against Kansas City. One we lose, unfortunately, close to, and another one where we get mollywopped.
Yeah, I think in Kansas City you're going to get destroyed.
It's
especially if there's home field on the line. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I will say it's unfortunate, too, that Russell Wilson went out in the fourth the way he did. The fact that he went out fighting, like, I want to talk shit. I really do, but you watch that second half of the game, and he did what we paid him to do, and he went out on a shield, and I got to give him that kudos. Like,
yeah, at least for that one quarter or half a play. I mean, you know, he's been a terrible... He might go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history, but he, you know...
It's number 2 right now. Maybe Herschel Walker still gets number 1 just by default, but it's climbing up there. I do worry if Brett Rippon has to start against. Oh God! If we have to play, we play Colt McCoy.
I think Arizona's an underdog in that game. I'm pretty sure
they're a 2.5-point dog. If we can't beat Colt McCoy, what are we doing? Like, if we can't beat Colt McCoy, what are we doing?
I mean, have you guys beaten anybody, like, ever?
We really fucking have. We beat the Texans, which everybody's done at this point, except the Jaguars. The Jaguars haven't beaten them, but just... I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to feel as a Broncos fan. I'm very conflicted because part of me is just like, yeah, we fucking lost to the Chiefs. Why did we bother keeping it close? We should have just tanked. And then the other part of me is like, you know what? Like, this was the first time I've seen this team have heart. This is the first time I've seen them perform well. And then we lost Russ, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, the minute we start, like, realizing we have potential, like, our potential is in real life. You fucking get ding-donged in the fucking head, and you have a little knot from where Sierra probably punched you at home. Like, God fucking crazy. This Broncos team, again, we're waiting till next year. Yet a fucking again.
Well, yeah, your season is over, but, you know, we'll see. Big off season for you guys. It's okay. You guys will have a high draft pick.
No, you dickhead.
Seattle will. Oh, jeez.
Well, we have Miami's, so, I mean, not all is lost.
All right, what do we got next?
Carolina, Seattle.
Worried about Seattle. Seattle's another one of those
Geno
teams,
Smith,
man.
not Geno Manning. Geno Smith. No, I think the narrative for this game is Seattle's defense. Their defense has just been utterly horrendous.
Couldn't stop the run the whole game.
Can't stop anything.
The run.
Can't stop the pass. Can't stop the run. Can't stop a... God, I'm gonna
Kenneth Walker. I mean, I don't think we need to go long into it. Kenneth Walker being out and Seattle's run game. I mean, that's a big loss because...
Well, that's the Pete Carroll method. Run the ball first. Establish the run. Then you do the other shit. And now that he has no run game, I think we're just seeing what this team really is.
Yeah.
I mean, Seattle's lost their last... They've lost 3 of their last 4. They barely beat the Rams. Again, this is like the Giants and the Seahawks look eerily similar.
Yeah.
They looked real good early in the season. They won a lot of close-ish games. They lost to who you thought they would lose to. But then all of a sudden, it's like now they're really on the losing streak, and it's like, is this who they really are?
Yeah, I'm just concerned with the injuries to their run game that this team might not be the same. And I mean, we're going to get into it, at the end of this video. Niners coming into town. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Brock Purdy.
Oh, is that the next game to recap, the Brock Purdy game?
I think it might be. Yes, it is.
Holy shit.
The first rookie quarterback to beat Tom Brady. And he did it with like he literally looked like a backup to me. Like, I watched him play, and it was like...
Which one, Purdy or Tom Brady?
Purdy. Like, he looked okay. You know what he looked like? A San Francisco 49ers quarterback.
A discount Jimmy G? That's what he reminded me.
Yeah, I mean...
A Jimmy G that could run around a little.
A younger Jimmy G. And you know what Tom Brady looked like? A worse Peyton Manning. Like,
I mean, he's just old. Tampa's just washed.
Do you know how low does Tom Brady have to be signing his own interception balls because the rookies were like, yeah, I grew up watching you. Thanks for throwing an interception. Like, and Brady, all he can do is just sign the ball.
I want you to, this is crazy. The Carolina Panthers are a game out of first.
It can happen.
Bro,
I think it could.
The Bucks are 6-7. Carolina and Atlanta's 5-8.
What's more disgusting? Another Tom Brady playoff run with the worst team ever. And that just builds his narrative as to why he's the GOAT, because he takes the literal worst team in the NFC again and makes a playoff run. Or don't throw up. Sam Darnold is a playoff quarterback.
Oh my God.
What would be worse? I mean,
another Tom Brady playoff run. Seriously, he's got to go. I mean, this guy's just. I mean, you got blown. They got blown the fuck out by San Fran. That was brutal.
I would only argue Sam Darnold only because I just don't seriously think they're going to be able to make a run. And let's be real, they're going to have to win out, which means if Sam Darnold starts winning out, there's going to be a lot of questions as to, like, why was this guy benched?
But at least if Carolina wins out, it'll be an interesting story. To me, like, Tampa is just dog shit, and they're going to get a home game in the playoffs. And it's just like, they don't, you know what I mean? Like, Carolina getting a home game in the playoffs with everything that's happened, that's a little quirky, cool sort of story. Imagine.
You know what it is? It's the Raiders last year. Here's a quirky interim head coach taking this team, leading them to the playoffs. Can this guy get a real job afterwards? You know what happens to those interim head coaches? They don't get the job. Well, they hire some dickhead off the streets. And that's the only reason, like, and it's nothing against Sam Darnold. It's just, do we really want to go through this narrative with him?
I'd rather go with Sam Darnold.
You're a brave man.
I don't want to deal with another bullshit Brady fucking GOAT playoff shit. He's going to beat
you don't want Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Super Bowl?
No, because he's not going to make the Super Bowl. Josh probably isn't going to either, but especially if they don't get the number 1 seed. But no, I don't want another. Tom Brady's going to win some bullshit home playoff game against probably, I'm trying to think of who they would even play as the 4 seed. Who's the first wild card in the NFC? Dallas. It's going to be a fucking Brady at home against Dallas. The fucking play. I mean, I'm like, could throw up. It's going to be in fucking prime time, because of course it is. I'm going to have to watch and I'm going to have to watch a 19-17 fucking ball game again. No, I don't want to deal with that shit.
I'd rather. I just can't picture Sam Darnold as a quarterback. But you know who else I can't picture as a quarterback? Fucking Tua. Holy
Oh
shit.
my God. I hope we kill this guy this weekend. Please, Buffalo, just end this fucking dude.
What the fuck happened to the Dolphins?
It's cool they're not good on the road. I've told you this. They're not a good road team. They're
Yeah.
great at home. They're not good on the road. And they're going to be playing in snow this week. Oh, my Lord.
The Chargers were, but they've been bad too. Home and on the road. They've just been dog shit. Like I predicted all year. And I was like, well, here's an easy team for Miami to get. Here's an easy opportunity for you. And then it turns out, no, it doesn't matter if you're a favorite. What matters is if you're at home on Sunday Night Football, because apparently home teams get the bigger edge, and they're just going to win. So, but God, Tua just overthrow, underthrow. He did not look like the Tua of this year that they were talking about for an MVP race. He looked like a Tua that we remembered in 2020 or 2021 when he played the Broncos and they were like a 3.5 point favorite, and we were like, why?
Well, isn't Tyreek Hill hurt now, too?
Maybe. Doesn't matter.
And it's going to be he would be a massive loss for this week.
Jeff Wilson, I think, is hurt. Like, again, doesn't matter. Like,
bro, they're just not good on the road. And I think, what's his name? Young Buck is getting figured out. Mike McDaniel, whatever his name is. Yeah. And they got I think this week, I think Miami could get blown out. I think Tua might have 5 interceptions this week.
I hope so. I'll bet that. I swear I will bet Tua interception.
And we know Miami's defense is no fucking good.
God, I guess the real question, are the Chargers, like, are they back?
Well, we know what the Chargers are. They're
mediocre.
A 7 to 8 seed in the AFC. I mean, they're just a mediocre effing team.
They're not even 7 to 8 seed. They're like fighting for a playoff spot.
Well, that's a 7 seed.
Did you know there's a tie, a 3-way tie right now for the last AFC playoff spot? It's the Chargers, the Jets, and the Patriots. Like,
God, is Belichick going to find a way to sneak in the playoffs again? New England has been so bad. New England's been so bad this year, and they might sneak into the playoff again.
Yeah, let's get to it. My dog of the week pick, Arizona, went down the shitter.
Dumb. That was just an idiot play.
No, it wasn't. First fucking play, Kyler goes down. Non-contact injury.
Yeah, he wanted to play Warzone, let's be honest. Bro, he could be out for a year. You might not see him for another year.
Yeah,
bad talk about injury. A disastrous signing.
But bro, like you watched the first half of that game, it was 13-13. And it was like, is Belichick real? And I hedged this game too. This was my last leg on, not my last leg. I had this as a separate dog of the week bet. And the minute Kyler went down, I hedged and betted on New England. And I was just like, is this really how my week's going to go? 13-13. I'm going to lose money because I bet on the fucking Patriots too. Like, are you shitting me? Like, this is what's going to happen? Nope. New England managed to find a way to get the win. Colt McCoy, there's reason he's a backup quarterback. Arizona loses another home game. But another game. I feel like I made the right pick. I did a good handicap.
And I told you what happens with Arizona at home. I mean,
Kyler
the numbers are getting like shocking now. What is that? 11 of 12 lost at home.
It's bad.
It's like betting Jacksonville on the road. I mean, okay, they won a road game. What 21 of 24 now? I mean,
if Kyler was healthy that whole game, do you think that score is what it is? Or do you think they actually get more up on the Patriots?
Probably not. I mean, it might have been a 7-point Patriots win. That New England defense came alive in the second half, though.
I mean, but it was against Colt McCoy. Like, I mean,
I don't think Kyler Murray is that much better. I've told you what I think of Kyler Murray. He's a bum. He is a bum. He's no good. He's the most overrated quarterback in football. Except they've been so bad this year that I think now Justin Herbert's the most overrated quarterback in football.
I would give it to Justin Herbert before I gave it to Kyler Murray.
God, both of those guys. They were talking about MVP for each of those guys. Like, really?
Yeah, well, both of us were just like this. That's wrong. Like, they're not even Josh. They're not Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes caliber quarterbacks.
God, the teams
I
don't
never
win.
understood that. God, yeah, it was a pretty bad week. I think we've gone on long enough. Just all I'll say is like again, some of these games I feel like I did okay, made the right picks, but just it didn't go my way. Some of these games just absolute insanity. Unfortunately, we have 13 games. 4, 6, 8-5 over under. So another good over under week for me. I did hedge that over under parlay, so I did end up breaking even there. 5-8 money line. I got the Bills, the Eagles, the Bengals, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs correct. If that's a shocker to anybody, it shouldn't be because they all played pretty much terrible teams. Uh, I'm catching fire on this alone. May have to be a double. 2-11.
Two catching fires for your 2 wins.
2-11 ATS.
Jesus.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Horrible.
that's a show killer right there.
It's embarrassing. I can't even say like I'm a sharp. I'm not.
Nope, that's
Sharps don't have weeks like this. I have to be better.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to catch fire. This is my worst week ATS all season.
Yeah, I had a week like this week 1. Week 14. That's pretty bad. All right. I'll just quickly everyone, the viewers are now able to see my little Excel spreadsheet. So you can see there's a lot of green here. So let's see. Yeah, so but not much green in my bank account because of those stupid player props, but what are we gonna do? So let's see. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 6 ATS. Not bad.
Not bad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, hold on. I should have counted the losses. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is live TV right here. 5, 7 and 6 ATS, 8 and 5 money line.
Not bad. Not bad.
So there we go.
Better than me.
Not a horrible week, but not one of real distinction either.
So maybe week 15 will be here's the distinction. You fade big bucks beta next week.
You literally just fade Steve.
Hi, here's my picks. Don't do this.
Here's my picks. Bet against them. Yeah. Like I said, I'm happy because I've been handicapping. I've been pretty consistent, like winning ATS for I think like the past 4 weeks now. So
I was winning ATS. I was winning over unders. This week was not even close.
And bettors took a bath last week too because of the weird underdogs and some of the weird plays. So
5 underdogs hit last week.
Yeah, Barney got crushed last week. So
yeah, the underdogs I picked, not a single one hit. It was unbelievable. But
so we've gone on a while. Why don't we get briefly into the Thursday game and
yeah, man, let's do this. So we're kind of doing a weird truncated schedule this week just because of the holidays, because of everything going on. Weather is also kind of an issue. Hopefully we'll be in studio Friday. We'll see. But yeah, we'll do our Thursday night handicap, or at least what we got so far. San Francisco, they're traveling to the Seattle Seahawks. They're going in as -3 favorites on the spread. They're -176 on the money line. Seattle's +148. Home underdog. Over-unders at 43.5. This is odds presented through FanDuel. San Francisco is getting 76% of the bets to cover. They're getting 70% of the money as well. Money management. Brock Purdy's first road game in a divisional matchup Big claim for the division. Barring catastrophe, it should be theirs, you would think.
It's hard because you know me. I said it before, and in looking at this game, I San Francisco's been a great home team. They're going on the road where they haven't been as good. I liked, you know me. The Giants and the Seahawks were teams that I really liked for a while. Made me a lot of money earlier in the year. Kind of fell out of favor with them recently. San Francisco's won like 6 straight division games now. Their defense is so good. That's the problem with this game. I'm not. Brock Purdy doesn't have to do much. This Seahawks team, we saw them last week. They couldn't stop the run. San Francisco has McCaffrey. Purdy, I don't even think he's going to need to do that much just because I could see this Seattle Seahawks team just not really being able to score. Hard not to pick San Francisco in this spot, but it's not a game I like all that much.
Yeah, it's not my favorite game either. Seattle, here's my issue. Seattle's lost essentially all their starting running backs at this point, which means Pete Carroll's offensive scheme has gone to shit, which means it's hard for me to think, especially against the Niners defense, that Seattle's going to do much. But here's what they got going for them. It is Brock Purdy. The guy literally went to hand off a ball and turned the wrong way.
How did he look last week? Didn't look that bad, did he?
Hey, he fucked up an old man and, told him he was going to fuck his wife too, and then he made him sign footballs for his DBs because he kept throwing interceptions after he said that. I mean, San Francisco, and I'm stealing this from the SGPN podcast. I'm 100% stealing this. They're Brock hard for Purdy.
Oh my god!
And I think a lot of San Francisco, they're on this guy's train for what it is. History though, it's like the Seahawks have been very good at home against the Niners. They actually have only lost in 2019 in their last 10 at home against the Niners. Seattle is a home underdog. They've been 2-0 this season. 4-1 ATS since 2021. The question is, do I back this team who has no running backs, no defense? You lost to Sam fucking Darnold. You almost lost to John Wolford. You lost to Derek Carr. I can't back a team whose defense is a suspect. I can't back the Seahawks.
Isn't it? Yeah, you want to back the Seahawks, and it's just this. You just can't.
It's not like last week where it was like I didn't want to really back the Rams, but there is some good reasons why you could, but not really good reasons, but like gut play reasons you could back the Rams, and they ended up those gut reasons ended up panning out. This isn't a gut play to me. This is like, look, historically speaking, statistically even, Seattle could pull this away. But you look at these two teams the way they're at, and it's not even close. San Francisco is just on another level. And Brock Purdy, again, he looks like a Kyle Shanahan quarterback, which is fine because in this system, that's all you need. And they've been winning with it. They've been winning it with Jimmy G, throwing him into the mix. Whether it works for Trey Lance is yet to be seen. My play for this, and by the way, Thursday night games, road teams, they're 7-6 ATS and straight up. I'm not including the Thanksgiving games. Road teams have won straight up 4 of the last 6. So I think there's something there to it. San Francisco, too, they don't really have too much of the travel. Seattle, I can't remember if they were home against Carolina, but
I believe so.
They were home against Carolina. So, But again, it's San Francisco to Seattle, not really crazy travel. I don't. And Geno Smith at home too. has not been as good as he's been on the road either. And I just think this is a game where Pete Carroll's going to get found out.
Just think Seattle's defense, they can't stop the run. And I mean, all the exotic run plays the Niners have, just tough spot.
Well, the Niners did lose oh God, what was his Debo Samuel. So do you think that's going to play a factor in this, or do you think
Didn't last week. I mean, this defense is so bad. You're really gonna need Purdy to turn the ball over a few times, I think, to have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be turnovers. It's gonna be an ugly win if you get it. If you're Seattle, I don't see them. There's not even a chance they get a blowout. I mean, I guess you look at the two Brock Purdy games. Is this a Miami game where you're relying on the other team fucking up so much, or is this going to be like the Bucs game where it's like, okay, this team fucking sucks, let's embarrass them? I will say, like, Geno Smith 4-3 on the road. He's 3-3 at home. Average yards per game at home 253.5. Average yards per game on the road 273. He's averaging 2 touchdowns on the road. He averages 1.8 at home. Like, you keep looking at these stats, he's not as good at home, which is really strange for a quarterback. But again, I know Seattle at home, they generally beat the Niners. That's the NFC narrative. I told myself I wasn't going to play it this year. I wasn't going to just go off NFC narratives, even though it made me a lot of money. I thought too much had changed. This is the game we're going to see. And that's my dog. He's letting me know that my fiance's home. Any final thoughts, bud?
No, it's like, I mean, like I said, want to play Seattle, game they need like blood, Purdy on a short week, but the defense travels, and couple Geno Smith turnovers could really put them in a tough spot.
So we could play a Geno Smith turnover. I'm going to see if there's any quick props just so we can give them something else other just to end the night on. Over under 43.5. I begrudgingly will take the over only because Seattle's defense is very suspect. San Francisco's pass defense also has not been the greatest. If you remember, they gave up that bomb to Tyreek Hill. They have Tyler Lockett. And they had DK Metcalf. I think there could be some points to be had. This, to me, just screams like a San Francisco covers, but gets the over.
Oh, yeah, you want to go
3 too.
Geno Smith is over 238.5. He's actually had over 264 his last 5.
Over 243.5. He's averaging 250 at home. That could be an overplay.
Yeah, if you're really inclined to do it. I would, I don't know what the rushing yards are for C-Mac, but I'd be looking at that. Too.
Let's see, rushing yards, C-Mac. Let's see. According to FanDuel, he's a 78.5 over under.
I mean, that could be. He had over 100 last week. You could have very easily over that this week. The suspect Seattle rush defense.
I got you, man. Yeah, and one more, DK Metcalf. He's been kind of on a fantasy tear. I don't even know what the odds are. I play him to get 50. Maybe throw it in a little nice parlay, same game parlay.
Little nice SGP.
Nice SGP.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, your fiance's home. I think we've gone long enough in our recap video.
Yes, sir. I'll see you Friday when we go over week 15. Hopefully we have more success.
Yeah, of course. Hope DGent Nation enjoyed this little recap video, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, guys. You have a good night. Good night, DGent Nation.
All right, man. Take it easy.
See you, bud.